Hi everyone, Bernard here. I hope you're all staying safe and well, and welcome to the Citizen channel. And we have a City Pass today as we do a History Boys feature as we prepare, as I'm recording this, to take on Chelsea in the FA Cup semi-final on the 17th of April at Wembley. Sadly, we won't be there, no fans there for this one. 5:30 p.m. kickoff. Yeah, I'm going to have a look at a History Boys feature on City versus Chelsea in the FA Cup. So we're going to have a look back at way back in history as well, even before I was born. That shows how old it is. We're going to go back. So we're going to have a look at the History Boys feature today on Chelsea versus Manchester City in the FA Cup. Let's have a look back together. Please, if you're new to this channel, push that subscribe button, push the bell notifications to enjoy what we do. We do these like history vlogs, City present vlogs, quizzes, magazine vlogs, City book clubs, loads of City stuff on there. So please tell your City supporting friends if you can about me. If they're not already, if they don't know about me out there, and get them to push that subscribe button as well. That'd be fantastic. And if you do check the playlist, you'll see some stuff on film and TV as well. If you need a rest from football, just have a look on there. I do TV drama reviews, film reviews, quizzes on there. Yeah, what's coming out to buy on DVD, what's coming to the cinema even now. I've had a few months off from that one, but as the cinema starts to reopen as I'm recording this, I'll be doing that again. So please, if you know anyone who might be interested in it, please point them in my direction. I'll be very, very grateful if you could do that as well. But this is football today. We're talking about City. We're talking about a wonderful club out in Manchester City. And if you do check the links on screen there for Facebook and Twitter, I post loads of stuff on City and football on there as well. So if you follow or friend me on there, I do check every 3 or 4 days and follow and friend everyone back. And if you've been to any of these games, I've been to, I think I've been to 3 or 4 of these, or well, certainly 3, I think. I think there's one I was stuck in the B for watching, but I'll tell you about that when we get to it, unfortunately. But sometimes when you book a holiday, you're not quite sure, here. So you try and work it out so you don't clash with City games, but it doesn't always pan out, unfortunately, does it? So anyway, yeah, let me know anyway any memories you've got of any of these games. Probably not the older one. You'd be very surprised if anyone attended the older one, that's for sure. But let me know any memories. And if you haven't got time to leave us a comment, just give us a thumbs up. So it's nice to get views, but it's nice to get thumbs up as well. Right, so there we go. We're going to look at 6 games, yeah. Look back at 6. So we've only played Chelsea 6 times. Obviously, if we'd played them a lot more, I probably wouldn't have included them all. But because there's only 6 games, I'm just going to have a brief little description on each one, actually, as we go through in order date, and just tell you a little bit about the games. And one or two I said I attended, but we'll just go through them one by one. And we're going to go back to 1915. Yes, so even you out there will realise it's a bit before my time. You'd have to be you'd have to be at least 110, wouldn't you? Even if you're a baby, you couldn't have gone there, could you? So yeah, I don't think many alive would be at that now. February the 20th, 1915. Yeah, it wasn't a great start. City 0, Chelsea 1. Yeah, it was at Hyde Road, of course. And this was the last season. Actually, the war had started by then. The war had started at the end, of course, of 1914. So we were still playing football up to 1915. So it was actually suspended after this season, obviously, because of the war, as you'd expect. So this was the last season. Yeah, Chelsea was struggling a bit at the time in the league, and City were near the top. We'd sort of been in the top 6 or 7 all season. And we'd beaten Preston in a replay in round 1. We beaten Villa 1-0 in round 2, yeah, because there was no round 3 joining then. It was straight into round 1, But Chelsea was a shock City, as they weren't doing that well in the league on February 20th with a 1-0 win, of course, in front of Hyde Road's second biggest crowd of the season that day. So that was the second biggest crowd for that season, 1914-15, of 32,000. I mean, you're getting towards the limits of Hyde Road with that crowd, and sometimes these crowds are understated at Hyde Road. It was always 32,000 or 26,000, so you can imagine it was pretty much a guesstimate. And Mr. Swales wasn't around, but it was still a sort of guesstimate in those days. Yeah, so they knocked us out that season. We'd finished 5th in the league. And Chelsea actually got relegated that season, but they actually got to the final. They actually got to the cup final at Old Trafford, believe it or not, and they played Sheffield United. But sadly, as well as relegation, they lost the FA Cup final as well. So poor Chelsea didn't do much better out of that. The next time we played them, it was after the war, but not the First World War. The next time we played them was after the Second World War. It was 24th of January 1948. A far better result for City. City 2, Chelsea 0. Mr. Lineker, not Gary, or Lineker, that's how you probably pronounce it out. That's how it's spelt. Who scored one of the goals. He's actually scored 7 goals in 79 appearances for City. And George Smith, who'd scored 80 goals in 179 appearances. That's not too shabby, is it? He scored the other one in a 2-0 win. Again, Chelsea was struggling that season as well. City were sort of mid-table. A crowd of 45,059 were not crammed inside Main Road. It was a bit bigger, wasn't it? But not a bad crowd, 45,000. Certainly not the biggest of the season. Watched a game, victory in a game that went to extra time. It was actually won in extra time because it was after the war. We didn't have replays then. They weren't doing replays. So we actually won it in the 30 minutes extra time at the end of the game. Sadly, City were knocked out the next game by Preston at Main Road in front of a crowd of 67,494. So a few 20-odd thousand more turned up for that one, didn't there? There'll probably be quite a few Preston fans, with it being fairly local as well. Preston were actually knocked out in the quarter-final by United, who actually went on to win it that season. But we'll not go too deep into that, shall we? And the league, as far as the league is concerned, City finished 10th and Chelsea finished 18th. So safe, because there's 22 teams in the league then. So they were okay. And the next time after that, we're getting to my time. I didn't go to away games in 1970-71 season, but I was going to all the home games. We beat them 3-0 in 1971. At Stamford Bridge, with Bell scoring a couple of goals and Ian Bowyer. This was the first time we'd played at Stamford Bridge in the FA Cup, of course, and it was quite comprehensive. It's quite a comfortable win. And as you probably, if any of you know your little history, Chelsea were actually the holders of the FA Cup at that stage, and we'd obviously won it the season previously as well. So it was a battle of the two cup holders. City, sadly though, would go out to Arsenal in the next round, so we didn't progress much further. And of course, Chelsea will get revenge, won't they? They get sweet revenge because they beat City in both legs of the Cup Winners' Cup semi-final later that season. And that was on their way to taking our trophy that we'd won 12 months previously. So these ironies and things happen, don't they? But I say it didn't do us much good, did it, winning 3-0 there. But I must admit, when Chelsea beat us in the Cup Winners' Cup, we had a slightly decimated team with injuries, etc. So, hey, that's my excuse, and I'm sticking to it. And the next one after that, we'll go into more modern times now. I mean, most of you on here will start remembering these now. We're going to April the 14th, 2013. This is an actual semi-final, so it's the only semi-final we've ever played against Chelsea. And of course at Wembley, and it ended, of course, City 2, Chelsea 1. And this is where I was in Ibiza at the time. I was on a holiday in Ibiza. I watched it in a bar with just 3 or 4 blues. The bars weren't particularly full at that time. It was out of season, obviously, at that time, wasn't it? April, quite early in the season. So, so I watched that there, and it was okay. 3 or 4 City fans, and I don't think there's any Chelsea fans in there. And I certainly don't remember anyone jumping up when Chelsea scored. That's for sure. Anyway, we did know, of course, the winners of that one would face Wigan, didn't we? We'd already seen Millwall off at Wembley the previous day, and I think we all breathed a sigh of relief, and possibly the Metropolitan Police did as well. Although Millwall did kick off at the Wigan game, apparently there's a lot of trouble at that one. So, you know, what it would have been like for us to play him or Chelsea to play him, it would have been a nightmare, wouldn't it? Without an injured David Silva, a Nasri first half goal and a Aguero goal early in the second half. A lot of you missed that one, I believe. As I say, I didn't have to worry about. I mean, I always try, even at Wembley. I know it's hard to get up and down the various places, but there wasn't many. There's quite a few empty seats. Put it that way when that one went in, but it certainly put City in control. But Barr pulled one back, Mr. Barr. There you go. We were thinking back to just before half time at that stage when he pulled it back to 2-1, because I think Vincent Kompany missed an open goal. Basically, I think he had a glorious chance to put us 2-0 up at half time. Obviously, we all sort of thought back to that, but we needn't have worried. We did prepare for the onslaught, but City held on, and we did more than held on. I think we had went all posh then. We did more than hold on. I thought I think we still had more opportunities to get a third as well, but it was one of the better semi-finals, and even the neutrals said it was certainly one of the, obviously they're quite nervy affairs sometimes, aren't they? But this was one of the better semi-finals played at Wembley, modern Wembley never, but obviously even taking into account the semi-finals in years at other grounds, it was still perhaps one of the most entertaining for the neutral fans. So, and we'll not talk about the final of Wigan, we won't go into that. I mean, we don't really want to talk about that's a horrible history. We're not covering horrible histories today, so there you go. That was that one. And the next game was 15th of February, so that after Valentine's Day, 2014. Yeah, so a season later, we'd meet Chelsea again in the 5th round this time at the Etihad. We'd actually lost our home game with Chelsea. It was like a sort of dress rehearsal just a couple of weeks previously, but we did gain some revenge with a 2-0 win. I do remember this sort of one, and obviously a lot of Chelsea fans were there. 2-0 win with goals from Jovetic and of course Sami Nasri again, one in each half. A crowd of 47,013 at the Etihad that day. It was a game in which I think we always looked comfortable in that one. I think we hit the woodwork 2 or 3 times. And Maureen's team, as it was at the time, Mr. Mourinho's team, should have been far more, perhaps, than 2-0. I think we were very, very comfortable. But, of course, we'll take 2-0. And obviously the 6,100 plus Chelsea fans, I don't think they were overly noisy that day. I don't remember them being overly noisy. I can't remember how the segregation worked, whether they had the top shelf and the middle shelf. I'm not too sure of the south stand, but 6,135 Chelsea fans, yeah, were pretty quiet that day, but they did get their own back just a little bit. A couple of years later, yeah, this is a bit of a sore point with many City fans at the time, but understandable perhaps. Yeah, the 21st of February, this is the last time we played in the FA Cup before this 2021 FA Cup semi-final. 21st of February 2016, of course, another 5th round, wasn't it? Another 5th round game. So, and it finished Chelsea 5, City 1. But obviously there was some circumstances, weren't there, around that? Of course, Pellegrini had frustrated most City fans, but most City fans probably accepted it, but were a bit miffed. I mean, I remember being a bit miffed. I thought we could have played a stronger team. He disrespected the FA Cup by playing, let's say, a weakish team in this one, with just over 2,500 City fans made the trip down. All credit to him. I mean, it was hinted that this was going to be a weak team well before. He did have justification. I mean, he did have a sort of justification with we had a trip to Kiev, didn't we? A trip to Eastern Europe just 3 days away. So after the game had been switched for TV to the Sunday, it was originally planned for the Saturday, obviously, and it was switched to Sunday. Obviously, we did request that the game be played on its original slot, but that was refused. So we had to play it on the Sunday. And we would fly out, of course, to Kiev 24 hours later, so it didn't give us much chance, did it? So, and then we had the League Cup final against Liverpool, which we were going down to Wembley for the week after as well. So, obviously, that was on the horizon after the Kiev game. I mean, so what we did, obviously, Mr. Pellegrini started 5 teenagers in the starting lineup, but this is an interesting team, to say the least. It was... I can never say his name. Tosin Adarabioyo, I don't know. Manu Garcia, Alex Garcia, Bersant Selena, and David Forpola. I don't remember David Forpola. Forgive me, it's not that long ago, is it? But there you go. And Humphries and Barker actually come on in the second half as well. Humphries and Barker. Yeah, our seasoned professionals that day that we had to rely on was Caballero in goal. Zabaleta, I think Zab was all right. Demichelis, I think he had a bit of a nightmare. Kolarov didn't play too well. Fernando was atrocious, if I remember rightly. And we had Iheanacho as well, so that was that was our go-to guys, if you like. But yeah, despite a brave first half display, Fopala had quickly equalised the Costa. I'm glad he didn't go on to play for us. I'd be struggling all the time. Had quickly equalised the Costa goal, didn't he? About 30 odd minutes in. About a couple of minutes later, we equalised. So at our time, it was 1-1. We'd played quite well, made a good fist of it, you know. And our hopes were rising that perhaps we would embarrass Chelsea. But of course, he rattled in another 4 goals in the second half. So they obviously ended up winning 5-1. I think the seasoned professionals and the youngsters were getting a bit tired. I think you know, and to be honest with you, most of the poor displays came from our more professional, you know, the guys who've done it week in, week out. As I say, I think I don't think Caballero covered himself in particularly glory, and don't think Demichelis, Kolarov and Fernando played particularly well, if I remember rightly, but you might remember as well. Let me know what you viewed. If you go down there to that game, say I wasn't there at that one, but were you in the 2,500 who did go down? I feel sorry for you, but there you go. That's following City through the thick and thin, isn't it? So there you go. So we did win in Kiev, so and of course we won the League Cup, didn't we, on penalties? There you go, but we did win the League Cup. So perhaps the means justified the ends, didn't it, in as far as that was concerned. So there you go. City's first team, of course, would then play at Stamford Bridge in the league in the following April, so just a couple of months later, and of course, and win 3-0. So there you go. We would put a stronger team out. We could have had another FA Cup semi-final, and who knows? But yeah, I don't think we could blame Pellegrini at the time, could we, for that? So there we have it. Just the 6 games. A quick sum up. Hope we enjoyed that. So our only semi-final, we won, so that's a good sign. So we played 6, won 4 and lost 2, so that's a good sign. And one of those we lost, let's face it, and we sent the kids out, didn't we, apart from the Zabba and Demichelis, and well, apart from 4 or 5, but then again, Caballero wasn't our number 1 keeper at the time, was he either? So there you go. Played 6, won 4, lost 2. Let's, as I'm recording this, as I say, let's hope we continue in our little semi-final. But thanks for joining me for this little History Boys feature as we look back at the meetings between Chelsea and Manchester City in the FA Cup. Please check my links below for all the City stuff, all City past and present. Have a look through there, see what's out. Thanks for watching. What are we going to do with this day? Have a great one. Look after yourselves, look after your friends, look after your families. More importantly, let's all look after each other. Till we meet here again on the Citizen channel, or perhaps have a flit across, look at my film and TV channel. Whatever it is, all I ever ask, don't forget, is please stay safe, Blues. Come on, City. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.